welcome to the Integrate This podcast and our Tech in 10 series. And David and I are taking different tech tools, tips, tricks, whatever they happen to be, and giving you kind of like the facts of them on how to use them within 10 minutes. And today I want to focus on a tool that I stumbled across earlier this summer. It's called LitLab or LitLab.ai, and it is a fantastic tool for especially primary teachers to work on decodable skills with their early readers. And so I'm going to share my screen here and let you see what LitLab looks like, other than being a little bit of a tongue twister to say over and over. You can see here from this page, of course, that it has great decodables, gives kids a chance to practice. The neat thing that I think here with this is that it is aligned to some science of reading standards that I know at least a lot of teachers in Minnesota are definitely getting a lot of professional development on in the last year or 2 years or so. It is something that is free for educators to use. However, what I will say is that it is freemium up to a point. Educators are definitely able to use, I think, some really high quality content and get to use it several times a week. But if you're going to use it in kind of that power using form, it is something that maybe you would want to reach out to your first year administrators and then reach out to LitLab to see what their pricing would be on their particular product for the type of use that you're going to have. So you can, if you are looking behind our little sign here, there's a spot to sign up if you don't already have an account. I'm going to click log in so that you could see what it looks like when I get there. And it's just a simple Google sign in. And it brings you then to your teacher dashboard page here once you get there. And I'm able to do a couple of different things here. The first is under this grab and go tab, which is really handy because LitLab has a lot of content that is available that is kind of sometimes can be themed seasonally. We're in the fall in Minnesota right now, and it just so happens that, there are some things in here that have, maybe a red oak in the fall, something about a scarecrow and a pumpkin patch here. And if you scroll down through, you can see that they then have some that their staff have picked based upon, different decodable needs that they're working through. Just a ton of things that are in there that are already pre-made and that you're able to use right away. Another kind of neat thing here is that it's also very searchable by the type of sequence and skills that you're working on. So if you are using, the CKLA, I'm just going to select that. It loads then, based upon that sequence, all of the different types of phonetic sounds that are available through there. You could see me scrolling through a whole bunch of them here based upon where your learners are at and the type of skill that they're working on. I'm just going to select one here that is on this ER type sound. And I'm going to ask it that the decodability of the reading be 90% things that students at that level should be able to understand without any other assistance from their teacher. Then you can also adjust the story length. I'm going to pick, just for the purposes of our video, to make it rather short so it loads a little bit quicker. And then I'm just going to type search, and it's going to pull from their content decodables that, and actually, oh, well, look at that. None of them matched. Well, that's no fun. What if we made that any? And so it's searching for stories here in the ones that they have that you're able to use. And here's one called Fuzz in the Fern. If I open up this particular decodable story. It will give me not just the text that a student can practice reading with, but also images that go along with them. If this is one that I would want to be able to use as a teacher, I'm able to share that out. I'm able to print it, or I'm able to assign it, which I'll show here in just a second. What I will say here about the print is teachers are allowed only so many prints per week. So be judicious in the ones that you choose to do there. You're also not just confined to what LitLab has, you're also able to create your own experiences here as well. And to create a custom decodable, decide which of these you want it to be. Do you want it to be a fiction one? Then that's great. Then again, select the sequence and the skills that you're working on. And you can then also add, choose a type of character that you would like from within there, maybe a bug instead of a crab. And maybe you want this bug's name just to be lady. And again, if you had any custom words that you're wanting to include, you can add those in there. And if you want it to be illustrated or not illustrated, if it's just going to be that text focused, then that's what you can do. So a little bit longer of a passage here because of the type of skill that I chose that we were working on. But again, it's really simple for teachers to be able to see the types of things that they are creating. And here we go. And again, you can go through and you can kind of check and see if it's something you like or not. If it's not something you like, you can also go back to edit what that was. Okay, another neat thing here about LitLab is that you're able to assign it to your students that are in your particular class. So I have a class here, it is just called Homeroom. And students access this through the class code that the teacher may have to go and put into their device, depending on the age of students that you have here. But what's really neat here is I can go through and add more students if I need to. I can add an assignment from ones that I've created or from ones that LitLab has created. And I can also then assign them to students to be able to do, including, this one right here from Bob. And Bob was assigned this particular skill. What the student can do then from their device is that they are able to listen in and they are able to turn on their microphone and they're able to say and speak the words that are part of that story. And so you could see from this one here that Bob had done that he hit about 77% average of the words correctly. And that is average comprehension, because you can add different questions for comprehension into it as well. And that, I can now then, as the teacher, maybe assign new things that are at that level for Bob that go along with it. So it's really pretty neat to be able to see some of those insights and use it as a formative assessment piece to get an idea of where your students are at. Now, I'm going to tell you there is more here to dive into, but we're tech in 10 minutes here. And I think the best way that you're going to learn some of these tools is going in and exploring them yourself and seeing kind of the things that you can do. I also recommend here when you're testing these out that one, you make sure that it's going to be an approved application for your students to be able to use within your district, within your buildings. So reaching out to your tech coordinators and making sure that that it fits the guidelines that your school has. The second thing is, don't be afraid to create a test student and try it out as if you were that student to see what are the limitations of those particular applications. All right, so that was our tech intent. All right, that was our Tech in 10 on LitLab. Be sure to check it out, especially if you are one of those literacy teachers focusing on kids in those primary or early elementary grades. If you are interested in finding out what other Tech in 10 episodes are available, please check out our playlist on YouTube.